It's Gabe and the crew on TexAgs Radio, right here on Sports Radio 1150, The Zone.
Good morning, everybody. It is 8:06 on a Friday morning. Wishing all of you a very happy Friday from right here inside the Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm Lia Musgrave, filling in today for Gabe Bach. Gabe took his family up to Wisconsin for a little trip to visit their extended relatives, so you're stuck with me this morning. My sincerest apologies about that. This is episode 2029 of TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Friday, July the 12th, 2019, just 3 days away from SEC Media Days 2019 in Hoover, Alabama. I will be there, Gabe and Olin will be there, Billy Lucci will be there, Stuart, Dalton, the whole TexAgs crew will be rolling deep through Hoover in just a few short days. Really looking forward to that, but for now, really excited to be here in studio with you all for the next 3 hours. I think we've got a pretty fun show lined up for you today. We've got Olin for the entirety of this hour. We call Jason Howell up in Dallas for a recruiting blitz at 9:05. We'll get your questions in for Jason Howell at 9:20. We call Mike Caruso at 9:35, former A&M associate athletic director for game operations. That's a mouthful. Now, I guess better known as father of Alex Caruso. We'll talk to him about Alex's contract with the Lakers, as well as Buzz Williams' return to Aggieland. Taylor Couch takes us around Aggieland at 9:50, and then a whole hour of The Luch. Billy Lucci, TexAgs co-owner and executive editor, joins me, hopefully in studio at 10:05. We will do an Ask Lucci segment at 10:35, so make sure to get all of your questions in for Billy Lucci in the third hour of our program. There's one number to call or text, 693-1150, 979-693-1150. As always, we invite you to call or text the show. When you do text in the show, we would like you to give us your first name and your location, who you are, where you're coming from, and what you have to say to us. You can also tweet us at TexAgs Radio. And now, as I mentioned before, we are just a couple of days away from SEC Media Days, and I, for one, couldn't be more excited to get on over to Hoover and see what this thing is all about. I don't think the man sitting next to me could be any less excited for SEC Media Days. I'm joined right now in studio by our columnist and Heisman Trophy voter, Mr. Olin Buchanan. OB, good morning.
Yeah, this is going to be my 13th in a row.
Goodness gracious.
So, when you've done something that often, and I've talked about it before, I'm sure people are tired of hearing me whine and complain about it, but, when you go there and it's pretty much the same thing and you don't get, very, very seldom does any of the players or coaches say something provocative. They're going to rehash all the things they've been saying since the end of the season, and we're going to try to make stuff out of that. But like I said yesterday, it beats digging a ditch, so I'll be there to do the best job I can for TexAgs. By the way, I had a dream last night that I couldn't make the show today. Have you ever had one of those dreams where you're trying to do something and you just can't do it? But the difference is, in my dream, Broniger was the host, so it didn't really matter.
All right, so that doesn't really matter. Oh, you would have given me a heart attack.
I'm trying all these things to try to get there, and I just can't get in my dream, I just couldn't get to the office.
It is kind of weird. I've noticed when I'm having a dream and I'm trying to run away from something or I'm trying to scream or something like that, you can't do it in your mind. So I don't know. It's kind of bizarre.
But it was Broniger. So
there we go. So that doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, I think the most disturbing part of that is that in any way possible, Broniger was in a dream of mine.
Yeah, what are you doing thinking about Bronny?
I don't know. I must have been paying too much attention to recruiting lately.
There you go. See, I had a dream that I was being chased by a hippo.
Broniger.
There we go. Perfect.
See, it all comes together.
There must be something in the air around here.
In Hutto.
Absolutely. But, Olin, to your point, you are absolutely right. It is kind of hard as journalists, as content creators, to try and find an arc when we do hear the same thing. It's, gonna be back in the gym, working hard, can never be satisfied. Not to throw anyone under the bus, but it really is kind of difficult to get some good content out of that.
Yeah, it happens every now and then. But for the most part, especially with the coaches, they talked about their team through spring football. They talked about their team after spring football. They went to the SEC spring meetings, and they talked about their team. And you think, what has really changed since late May to now with your teams? And there's not a whole lot. So
there really isn't. Any kind of quarterback battle we'll see happen in fall camp, and that's not even here anymore.
So it's a lot of reinforcing things. Of course, we also have to understand that not everybody has kept up with everything. So we might report something that's been already reported, but it still might be new to somebody else. So we'll do our due diligence, and hopefully somebody. That's why I wrote a column last week or 2 weeks ago, begging Jimbo Fisher to bring Leon O'Neal, because hopefully somebody will say something very colorful and funny, and will be that magnetic personality that everybody wants to quote. And I guarantee you, Leon would have been that guy.
Absolutely.
But instead, they're bringing the guys that we all expected them to bring.
Well, what was your reaction? I mean, a couple days ago, it was announced that Kellen Mond, Justin Matabike, and Braden Mann will be accompanying Jimbo Fisher at Media Days. What was your reaction to that?
I wasn't surprised at all. That's the guys that I thought they would bring. Typically, teams don't bring a punter, but typically you don't have a punter that just set, NCAA records and, had the kind of season that Braden Mann has. Typically, a punter is just somebody to get, try to give you a little bit of field position when your offense doesn't move. But Braden Mann is a weapon in himself. So it made sense. You got to bring your quarterback, and on top of that, he's one of the more experienced players on the offense. And then Justin Matabike, in my opinion, is the best player on the team. So it makes perfect sense to bring all those guys. But Leon O'Neal would have been a lot of fun.
Maybe next year we can hope for.
Probably count on it.
If his game on the field can match his Twitter game,
yes,
and get those on the same level, then I think.
Then he may be the first defensive back, not first defensive back, but Charles Woodson played receiver and defensive back. So the first guy to just play defense to win the Heisman if his on-field performance matches his Twitter game.
Absolutely.
Because he's a Twitter Heisman winner.
What kind of answers are you hoping to get out of Media Days this year?
I don't know, for honest ones. Something other than, like you just said, the
got to keep working hard. Can never be satisfied. Going to keep grinding.
I really want to push some of the LSU guys on something that Ed Orgeron said at the spring meetings about it's going to be so much more volatile. He didn't use the word volatile. I'm using the word when A&M comes there because of the way the game. And I like to say, what's going to be different, and how do you view A&M? I think that's a good question to ask the Arkansas people, which I have done before. But now, you look at Arkansas's potentially their starting backfield is an A&M backup backfield with Nick Starkel and Rakeem Boyd, and how much that game means to the folks at Arkansas. And then just anything else about you just hope guys are honest about what their team is up against or what they're facing. I can tell you right now, everybody from Auburn is going to be asked about their quarterback situation, and they're all going to say, "Oh man, they look great in practice," because no one goes up there and says, I'm really worried."
No, we trust our coaching staff. We love them. They're great. They're going to set us up for success.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm talking about when I say, so much of it's the same thing.
Well, and we do love authenticity, and I think that's really important, especially. I do understand how these guys are put on a big platform and they feel this pressure that everyone in the media is going to be questioning them and taking everything that they say, word for word. If you say it, then they can quote it and put it in a story. So I understand that they're going to proceed with caution and want to be careful, but we do like honest answers. If you're nervous about a coaching change, that's okay. We're normal human beings with feelings.
In 2012, when A&M first went there with Missouri, Missouri had a receiver named T.J. Moe. And he was hilarious, and he was just brutally honest, and he was the star of Media Days that year. Hopefully somebody will emerge like that this year.
Absolutely. Well, let's go around and say howdy to everybody. We have Jamie Morey back in the fishbowl producing the show. Day 5 for Dalton Hughes. Jamie, are you sick of us yet?
Not quite. I'm having a good time this week.
How are y'all doing back there?
We're all good. Everyone good? Yeah, we're all good.
Everyone looks good. I feel like some people in the back there need to wake up a little bit.
I think Tyler's been awake for 24 hours now or something like
Goodness
that.
Gracious.
Yeah, he's rolling.
Well, good to hear it. Glad to have you here. We have Taylor Couch over in the social center this morning. 3rd day in a row. Taylor, are you sick of us yet?
No, it's just been a lot of early mornings, but howdy everyone. I'm excited for the 3rd day in a row, and then we have next week off, right?
Yep, we will be broadcasting live from Hoover, Alabama,
That's
Monday through
fun.
Thursday.
So excited for that for y'all.
Yeah, very excited. You got any plans this weekend?
I don't even know what today is, so
it's Friday.
I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, Taylor, well, give us our topic for today.
Our topic for today is which head coach in the SEC enters the 2019 football season on the hottest seat and why?
A lot of different directions you could go with that. I feel like I kind of have a clear answer in my mind, but we'll let you chew on that for a little bit, and we will get some of your reaction, some of your text messages and your tweets after we take a little bit of a timeout. Again, our phone number is 693-1150, 979-693-1150. And Obi, we'll kind of get to this more on the other side, but what's your initial reaction to that topic?
Oh, Gus Malzahn at Auburn.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
I think there's a couple that you could argue maybe, have to win 6 or more games if you're Derek Mason, or Edo, I think, has is feeling the pressure a little bit because people just have high expectations for LSU. I think there's a couple that you could argue maybe might be feeling the heat a little bit. I don't know if that's because people are trying to intentionally put pressure on them or if anyone is actually on the hot seat, but I absolutely think Gus is on the hot seat. And we can touch more on that after the break, and we also want some of your reaction. So we will take a timeout right now. It is 8:17 on the Zone. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner Steulers.